Hey guys, and welcome to the journey. I'm here with my big brother Curtis Jonas and myself, Joe Jonas, and we are the Jonas Brothers. Two brothers from South Africa that came to France to follow their rugby dream. Our new podcast will be concentrating on your journey, but to start our brand new and first podcast, we want to share our journey first. Let's explore the journey. Episode 1, take 1. Let's go.
Hi there, guys. I'm Curtis Jonas. I'm with my brother Joe Jonas. Joe, can just tell us where you were born?
Just obviously I was born in South Africa. I was born in the Western Cape, small town called Swellendam. CCK. And I'm a 2000s baby. So
Yeah.
I'm 22 years old. Was born on the 31st of December 2000.
Yeah.
And we were born in a small town called Swellendam. And I think you can go ahead, but it's kind of the same story.
Yeah, well, I was just back in 1996, of course. Was born obviously in Swellendam, but yeah, fun fact, it's actually the third eldest town in South Africa.
Yeah.
If I'm not mistaken, it's 1748, 46, somewhere there. I'm not sure, but small town, very interesting, history. And I think the thing I love the most is probably the people, I'd say. Like everyone, small towns, everyone knows everyone kind of thing. Dad being a teacher, mum working the municipality. So I think everyone is well known around there. And like you say, small towns. So like obviously that helped us a lot to find our feet quite easily. Like
Yeah.
some friends and so on. So Joe, growing up, tell us more about your family and
Growing up, obviously a real simple family, I would say. We grew up as four in the house, but obviously when mama came in, so it was just a good, if you want to say it, we had a good atmosphere, good family atmosphere in the house. I had everything that I needed as a boy, I think, and it really helped us. And I think it's just a lot of love, and I'm really grateful for my parents, what they did. And yourself, what do you feel like growing up and the town that you grew up in and all of that?
yeah, for me as a youngster, me, yourself, mom and dad, and I was like you say, grandma joined us a bit later, but there was always a sense of love, sense of support, which is very important, and at a young age, just to find a feed and some guidance, because it's quite easy to get lost in a small town. You can get caught up in the wrong crowd, and do the wrong things that might cost you in the long run or influence your life in the long run. But lucky for us, we had good parents. Like you said, we always had what we needed. Sometimes there wasn't sometimes, but we understood, like we could cope, and that's the way we grew up. And I think that also kind of, the small town, that kind of humble lifestyle kind of kept us grounded in a way. So yes, I am really grateful for my family as well. So I think we
And just let's talk about mom and dad quickly. What would you say about mom and dad, and even if you want family, friends, what would you say? How close people in your life, the people that you always see when you go home, the people even around you now.
yeah.
How's that like?
Well,
And how was it like growing up?
yeah, let's start off. I'll start off with mom and dad. But like, let's go with the queen first. Dad used to call her the government. Whenever she speaks, you just everything goes. But with mom was quite a tough character. The hard errant. She's just very strict. I'd say she was very strict on getting the schoolwork done, making sure that the projects are ended in time, while staying off the street and not like doing the wrong things. But luckily for both of us, we weren't into that at a young age. We were very driven, especially when it came to sport, etc. School, probably not as much schoolwork. Probably not a big fan of that, but I mean, yeah, it's the balance is important. But I'd say she played a role in terms of when something has to be done, it has to be done, and she makes sure you get around to it. Like, and I remember a great value she taught us. I remember we had a lady that came into work, daily at our house, and she used to come into the gate, and we had a guy that worked in the garden, And every morning that they came to the house, mom always told me, like, when it's a lady and she come to the gate, you open up the gate and you give her a hug. And if it's a man, you look him into the eyes and you greet him by, with the hand and with a firm handshake. And I think that's still stuck to today. So I think that's what she really hammered on, and I think that today that's who I am today as well. When it comes to dad, dad is who he is. He's very humble. I'd say very quiet. He's more the relaxed character. But once again, balance is important, I guess. So, and he wasn't very forceful on doing this and doing that. He always gave us like consequences on what would happen if you take this route or what would happen if you do this, but never decided for us. And yes, he was obviously a gentleman to us, showed us what a man should be. We never worried about dad coming home drunk or, being abusive or whatsoever. So I think we really grew up in a privileged environment. As for family, friends, and people that were friends, very important to me. Yeah, but still today it's the same old.
Day ones.
Always here. The day ones. Well, if we always go back home, they'll still be there. Well, we probably, it's one of those we don't speak a lot,
but if you see each other,
it's like or when you speak, it's paragraphs, man. So yeah, and to you, Joe, what was mom and dad to you, and what was the family, friends, or what did that play in your life growing up?
Yeah, massive role. If I can start on mom, obviously it's basically the same thing that you said. But I feel like if you look at both, I would say mom is more, the not fully strict, but she's the one that hard work's important. If you want to get it done, you need to put the work in, all of that. And if you look at that, it's more of it's patience. Be patient, and I think that's good to have, because I think if you know me as a person, I'm really relaxed. And I think I get that a lot from my dad.
Yeah.
But with obviously the working side of things, I think mom is, but dad is very intelligent as well.
Exactly.
So being an English teacher in the language and all of that, like it's pretty good. And he's
studied a dictionary, like,
to read and stuff like that. We always he would tell us to read, but we would never want to. So but otherwise I feel like they've really done a great job.
Yeah.
And as parents, they knew the assignment, and I think they did a really good job. Afterwards, in terms of friends, like when I was at home where I stay, didn't really have a lot of friends. Like, I mean, school friends, yes. But my best friend was always my cousin, because he's the one that always used to come to my house on the weekends, play PlayStation every time, would play rugby, would play, and so that was my best friend, if I can say so, in primary school growing up. And then afterwards, as I went to high school, I started to get my high school friends. And obviously, we're in a school where everyone came from everywhere in South Africa. So meaning, you get boys where you at school, and obviously when you go away from school, like on holidays, it's like difficult to get together, because I'm in Cape Town, or he's in Johannesburg, he's in Bloemfontein, all of that. So difficult. But those guys, they know who they are. Ethan, Stian, you boys know who you are. And I feel like that's my boys back at school, and there's a whole lot more. But and family wise, the cousins in our family, we always stick close, if we see each other. Obviously, it's family, so can't go away from that.
Yeah, talking about honesty, talking about family. We always like, most of our families come from broken households, where there's divorce or whatsoever. But I still believe our family as a whole is one in a million, because you can see it now. Even we might be scattered all over. Like, we in France, they back in South Africa. Some of them, like in our town where we're from, Swellendam. Some might be in Cape Town. But we all stick together when we get the time. There's always a reunion or some whatsoever to kind of make time to stick together, and that just shows how important family is in our in our family, in our lives. And so yes, we'll always be there for each other. And I mean, that influence of family and great good friends are very important as you grow up. Joe, to go to the next one, I feel we should talk about you're talking about your friends there, but that was from high school. Now, what I would like to know, what was primary school like when you were back in Swellendam, I believe? What was primary school to you?
Primary school, I really enjoyed it. You know, I was the kid that from my first year in school to the last day, I went to school barefoot. So meaning, I wasn't a owner of any shoes at that time, because I would always go to school bare feet, and yeah, that was my routine every morning. Even though it was, I don't know, it could be raining, it could be really hot. I was that kid, and so yeah, and you know, the real Platteland kid, and otherwise high school, yeah, it was a real fun time. Sorry, primary school, it was a real fun time, and at the end of my primary school years, obviously came through the rankings, if you want to say it, the years, and surprisingly got the chance to be head boy at the school.
Yeah.
So that was quite surprising, at a primary school being head boy, and yeah, it was a nice challenge. But obviously at that age you always want to play around. But it obviously taught me a little bit of responsibility, but obviously not fully, because you're still a kid, you're still young, you do whatever, but you still have to tell people, okay, you do this and this and this. But yeah, it's a good learning curve at that time for me, and in that time obviously you left as well. So I had a lot of time with mom and dad alone, and what was that for? I think I was still, when you left, I was what, grade 5, grade 4,
I think, yeah.
and so yeah, it was almost like 3-4 years that I stayed alone with mom and dad, and so
Could be challenging.
yeah, no, but it was good times. But yeah, and for you?
Yeah, well, I mean, same primary school, Law School Swellendam.
Yeah.
That was the school we both attended. And for me, those were, yeah, man, it was great days, you know, like it was the sports, the mini cricket. Most of the friends that I have today started from there, so we literally started from the bottom.
Yeah.
Some of the boys then progressed obviously onto the high school, but primary school days were good. Well, it's like anything else. While you're in it, in the process,
Yeah, you don't
really appreciate what you have until it's gone. So and to me, I think Last Solomon played a big role for both of us. We would like to just give a big thanks there.
Yeah, thank you.
For what they've done. Joe, then I want to ask you more about, as we're speaking at primary school as well. Where did the sporty bug kind of bite you in terms?
You know, I think in South Africa it's good, because in South Africa, in the school, like where you are, it allows you to do a lot of sports. So I think I've touched a lot of sports, and it helped me getting passionate about a sport. So that's why I played a lot of cricket, I played a lot of rugby, even athletics. But wasn't really my strong point, if I can say it, because I'm in rugby and we kids, so it was for the fun, and it was a really good time. But never I would have thought in a million years that I would be where I am now. And so yeah, it was more just for me, and primary school was more just having fun, playing, and just going out there and having fun. That's all.
Exactly.
And yours, like?
Yeah, for me, about everything, you know, I was, as funny enough, I was always a bit rapid, then I was a bit younger, like always fast and quick off the mark. So I think things like athletics.
I wasn't that guy though.
Things like athletics, I kind of, you know, enjoyed playing rugby as well, cricket, you know, the mini cricket, Pakers, when it was still back then. And obviously you, after grade 4 and grade 3, it starts to get a bit serious. You under 11, the softball goes to the real cricket ball, the red one. I remember the training sessions with dad then. Used to be very hard on us when we were younger. I remember with the no pads on, getting your foot to the ball and all of that. And that kind of stuff. Rugby wise, just, you know, basics. I remember we'd go out to the field, we'd run, like literally just run onto the 100 meters up and down, and just like chuck switches and chuck the ball around. Just, someone leaves it, there has to be someone. And I remember he would go up, but there's no one in support. But I mean that kind of obviously developed the love for the sport as
yeah,
well.
for the sport.
He was a great cricketer too, so I mean that's why we always had cricket bats laying around at home.
Oh yeah,
And obviously watched the game as well. Played in the backyard, whether it was rugby season or cricket season,
Yeah.
either or. That's the thing that we've been
yeah.
doing with the
I think
mates.
sport is just in the blood as well, because
Yeah.
obviously mum and dad,
Mum is
they yeah,
netball.
netball, dad played cricket, rugby, and yeah.
Mm.
So I think it was in the blood. Just let's go on the point where, because when I was in my primary school years, grade 5, 4,
Yeah.
you left.
Yeah.
And can you just tell the people what happened there?
Yeah.
How did that happen? Obviously, we know you went to Glenwood High School afterwards,
Yeah.
in Durban. And how did that all happen? How did that?
Well, that was actually
together,
again. Obviously, after primary school, went to high school, Swellendam for 2 years.
Yeah,
Up until grade 10, second term. Over there, well, just to give you a little background, it's a small town, so we literally just played for the love of the game. If you were in grade 8 or 9, you would play under 15. That means you play with the grade 9 and 8s play
And
together.
8s, yeah.
When you grade 10, you play the opens. The opens are like we play with the grade 11s and
the 16, 17,
Yes.
18s,
And
even 19s.
yes, so we only had
Yeah.
3 teams. So we had like under 15s, under like second team and the first team.
Yeah,
So I was grade 10 and I was privileged enough to play for the first team, and I was actually playing at outside centre, believe it or not. And we went up to this a festival called Tony Stoops that was in Guru. If I wasn't mistaken, this was a tournament for like micro schools in the Western Cape, and we come together, and obviously we played against Alexandra Road the last game. We lost. I scored the only try that day, I remember. But after that game, got man of the match, and went up to this little room, and they just handed me an envelope. And well, Dad checked it out, and the next thing Dad told me, well, it's a scholarship to go to Glenwood High School, and I was like, well, to be honest,
Glenwood High School. What's Glenwood High School? You know, at that time we were
Exactly,
like,
what's Glenwood High
what's
School?
Glenwood?
Like,
Where,
what's
what's Durban? What's Durban? even?
Yeah.
Like, obviously, when you were smaller, you went to Durban with mom and dad.
Yeah.
But it was like,
Yeah.
can you remember?
Yes. Funny enough, we still
Have the photos,
spoke about
yeah.
it. When I was 4 years old. There's a picture outside of Kings Park
Yeah.
where the Sharks play their rugby, and well, in a few years time, I didn't know that I'm gonna end up there, actually going to school there, and then everything kicked off. So going there, before I left, like we say, we hear about the Pal boys, we hear about the Pal gyms, and in the Western Cape, your and your great colleges and all the school Porus. But being in Swellendam, you never think about those schools. So which is actually as a Platland boy, you don't give like too much
Yeah.
credit to those schools. Like
Because you don't really know
no,
them from that time.
yeah. So I think that kind of worked in our favor as well. I think we some can I say, some schools has got rich history, and it could be daunting. Like the likes of a great college, for instance. If you go up against them and you play against them, well, people always speak enough about them. But if you actually play them, I feel like, well, it's just another game.
Yeah.
So it helped us a lot being in for me in that environment as I call us a small fish in a big pond. And I remember I was a young kid. I left home at the age of 15, I'd say, and I had to go take a bus from Groentemarkt. That was the shop
The little
there,
shop at
yeah,
the
outside Swellendam in the main road. And I had to take the bus by myself all the way to Durban. And I remember, well,
What was that, like, for what? How many hours?
I think when I left Swellendam at like 7 o'clock in the morning. I got there in Durban the next morning, 7 o'clock as well.
Yeah, so it's like 24 hours.
Yeah,
straight.
well,
yeah.
with all the stops, and all
Yeah,
that,
yeah.
and delays and whatever. I got collected by Mr. Erasmus. He was coaching the first team that year, and then into the boarding establishment, which was called Gibson House at the time.
Good
in
morning,
Stena.
Gibson.
And well, that I immediately joined the under 16s. And yeah, well, played under 16 that year. I don't know, we never played Boland under 13. We never made under 12, and then straight into the Grand Como squad. And for us, it wasn't like a big thing. Like it was just
Yeah.
okay. Because you weren't like rugby was a thing. I don't want people to get me wrong, but like everything just kind of happened so fast after that.
Yeah.
I just kind of kicked off, and all of a sudden you're playing Grand Como with KZN. That's in Durban, which is probably the Sharks junior team at school at under 16 level. And yeah, after that, the journey kind of kicked off when I played first team at Glenwood, and everything kind of became easier because obviously because of sport, you know, people kind of get to know you for who you are and whatever the case might be. But the toughest years, few years by far, I was those first 3 years away from home. I remember crying every night in the in my dorm, you know, like trying to want to go home, and mom and dad just kept saying like, listen, yeah, think about the bigger picture and just see it out. You never know where
Yeah.
that might go, because it's either back to Swellendam,
Or yeah.
and you have to go study probably after school, or you do well in sports, get yourself a contract somewhere, and you might study it, might set you up for life. But at the time you're so young, and I probably very selfish of me too, but at the time I didn't realize the pain that they also went through, because their parents, you know, like their son of 15 years old just left, and
Yeah.
you know how it was. We just went home when it was well, not even holidays, because there might be a tournament or something.
Yeah.
But so we didn't see each other much, but the sacrifice, I'd say, it paid off. And that Tony Stoops tournament, that Glenwood was actually, that was a life changing point in my life, in my career too. So yeah, well, me speaking about that now, Joe. On to you then. You then finished high school,
Primary school.
primary school, sorry, and then you as well. You went to high school. So can you
Yeah,
just
high
give
school.
us?
High school for me, it was like obviously I didn't know at first, and all of a sudden my dad gets a call saying, "Hey, Mr. Jonas, don't you want to send your youngest son over as well, because the bigger one was so good. Why not give the smaller one a shot?" And I just went on actually, if you want to say it like that, I went on my brother's fame at the school. And yeah, I think he opened up the doors for me, my brother. And so I went to Glenwood when I was grade 8. I didn't even say yes or no to my parents, but I just found myself in the car with my mom and dad, and we were off to Durban. And then we went over there. They took me. We had a camp with all the grade 8s that was just coming, that came into Glenwood at the
Yeah,
time.
like the
Then
tradition.
the new ones, and then afterwards, mom and dad left, and I was all alone over there.
Yeah.
But to be honest, I was all alone. But because of what he went through at the school, and because of the impact he had at the school, I was kind of known in a way, because I was known as the little brother of Curtis. And yeah, but for me, high school was really nice. Had really good moments in high school. Good friends.
Yeah.
And the thing that was really good about high school is that, or really funny actually about high school, is that I was born on the 31st of December.
Yeah.
My parents held me back.
Yeah,
And so when I got into high school, I was playing sports and everything with the guys that's 15 years old. So all the boys that's 15 years old, but myself, I was in grade 8, so I would play with all the grade 9s when it came to sport, but
Yeah.
with my schooling and all of that, I would be with the grade 8s.
Yeah.
And so I always played with the year above me, and I wasn't that good yet, so I was one of that guys that I was a late bloomer, meaning in grade, when I got to Glenwood, I was playing B team. Under 15s I played B team, under 16s I played B team, and then I started to touch the under 16 A team, and then we went to opens, and then my first year I played seconds for Glenwood, and then afterward, and I was on the bench for the first team, and then 2018 was my first time I played in that green jersey, and yeah, that was a really good season, because we went unbeaten that year. Yeah, it was really, really good season for us. A lot of talented guys. I think you'll see some of the guys now as well, making
some
big in the
waves.
rugby. Yeah, making some waves.
Big in them.
And then afterwards, my final year, played again in first team at Glenwood High School, my matric year, and then all of that. Yeah, that was my high school year. That was my high level.
Yeah, well, and Joe, tell us more about what did Glenwood mean to you, and what values did they add to your life?
So
Yeah.
Glenwood is a school where you have a lot of rules, but I think it's for the better. Meaning, when you're at the school, stuff like standing up for someone when they come in,
Yeah.
a person that's older than you, or someone that, for example, mom and dad can walk into the school and every boy would stand up saying, "Good morning, sir. Good morning, ma'am." Stuff like that. And I think it's small things, but that goes a long way. And even in life, I think it helps you a lot, because you know what discipline is, you know what respect is, and all of those stuff. And I think for me personally, it taught me how to be a man that can stand on his own. And just knowing my values, setting myself principles, and keep myself accountable there, and that I can do the right things. But afterwards, that's what I learned from Glenwood. And you?
Yeah, well, Glenn, for me as well, values in terms of knowing your place. In terms of like, you know your place, and then obviously to earn your privileges. You're gonna have to go through a few stuff to be able to get what you want, and so is life. First of, and then obviously how to be a gentleman. School was big on that. Well, yeah, just discipline in general. Everything was scheduled, and it teaches you the importance of routine. Because if you have no routine, I mean, you could find yourself lost. So that was big to me. In terms of Joe, again, I guess we did with the primary school and high school. Tell us more about, like, back then for you. What was your training schedule like? Obviously for rugby, waking up.
Yeah,
I'm talking like let's say first team now.
First team level. Oh, it was like professional in a way, because you wake up 6 o'clock in the morning to go do some gym work and all of that.
Hoping Derry doesn't pitch up.
Yeah, hoping Derry doesn't pitch up. So if you see the cars and the lights coming, because it's dark at that time, and so you see the lights and you're like, geez, like we're going. There's gym today, so 6 o'clock in the morning, and we sometimes in preseason we will even go swimming sometimes.
That was a Fridays.
We would do some Murphs. That's what he used to call it, some Murphs in the morning and all of that.
That was like 36 or like 20 laps.
Yeah, like but 30. That's and so that 6 o'clock in the morning you would go, and then sometimes you would come. You would go down, shower, go eat, and then come up. And then sometimes, obviously, there's academies when you're younger or 16 years old in school.
Just explain to the viewers what the academy was about.
Academies for the younger boys would always be wake up, shower, eat, and then you get up to the school, and you know your sports clothes, and you do whatever sport code you want to do, like rugby, cricket, swimming, whatever it might be. And you work on individual skills, but obviously in a group but you guys work on your skills. It's you with a coach that tries to make you better, and making your obviously your skill set better, and trying to make yourself a complete player, if I can say that. But it was just to improve the player. That's basically what academy was.
Well,
and then otherwise, then a normal day would be from, I think school used to start at 8:30. 8:30 would have a normal day at school. 12 we would go down to the boarding establishment to go eat.
Second break,
Yeah, a second break, and then afterwards go to school again, and then finish at like 2 o'clock. No, sorry, 3 o'clock. Yeah, that was it. 3 o'clock, and then afterwards get down, change, and come up for your training with your team, and that's collective work where we obviously work with your team or where you play in and all of that, and then afterwards go down to the BE again after training. But sometimes after training, obviously doing some extras.
Always,
and then afterwards go down to the BE.
Book yourself a late supper.
If you do some extras, sometimes, and then eat down at the BE, study time, and then 9 o'clock we were in bed. And like, if you compare that to now, where would you say you are?
12. But funny enough you mentioned it. Well, being in Europe, like, you know, it is, I feel like it's obviously a different culture. Around people kind of stay up very late, later than back home. Back home people will settle in like 10 o'clock. Like, literally that would be like, okay, it's time for bed, it's time to sleep.
Yeah.
But
But
I mean,
yeah, it's always
you can stay around for a coffee or tea.
Yeah,
I
it's
guess,
like
like
a-
11 o'clock. Be like, hey, it's time to keep
yeah,
it.
it's time to go.
But yeah, that's just the difference in culture, I guess. But I'd say there's obviously still a few stuff you hold on from back home, and yeah, Joe, special your most special memory like in the first team jersey back home in the Glenwood jersey.
Glenwood first in Jersey. I think 2018 we went unbeaten that year, but we had one game that
We all know.
yeah. We had one game where we didn't lose, but obviously we drew, and that was against Grey College,
Bloom.
25-0, and had a good game, but I was kicker, and so kicked everything, you know. I was so yeah, I was.
He scored twice, but wasn't allowed.
But wasn't
Like,
allowed and all of that. But it was overall it was a good game,
Yeah.
and so I kicked so good actually, and then it came to the last kick, but still 5 minutes on the clock, so didn't really think about the kick.
Yeah, and you're
confident because I've been kicking good this game, and then all of a sudden I missed a kick, and I'm like, okay, all good. We'll play, and then after that game. Went into the change room and I just cried, and I think that was the time where I understood what sport is, or like just the way you really realize, like, geez, like sport it's cruel sometimes, because that was my first encounter with that, because it's like we played good, but yet we didn't win the game, and you feel like you should have, but you didn't. And I mean that's the only I think that's my best moment in the green jersey, but also one of the best learning curves and learning experiences actually.
Well, to come back on that point, Joe, with well, you say sports a crew game. We touched on it before, like, you know, we always speak about it, like how some people might have a tough preseason, really hard preseason work,
and then
some people might not work up for, like, put in as much work, and then still win it, still win something, and you'll be thinking, but why? But that's the beauty of it. You never, like, well, it's when you quit, you never know. So
but let's hear your side of it. Your best game, best moment in a green jersey.
Yeah, actually my first year at Glenwood, when meaning like my grade 11 year, I was already playing representing the first team, and I was playing. We went to Mersborough College. You know, it is at Goldstones. We like to call it Greenstones, but you know, they probably get upset about it. It was their 150th reunion day. It was
reunion.
Yeah, old boys day. You know how big that can get. I mean, if I was mistaken, they got Butch James, all the old boys, Jesse Krill and the boys, Daniel Krill, they're all there, you know, chirping us, you know, like, just giving us hell, man. But that day, the end score of the day was actually 44-40. So it was a great day, you know, good show for it. We put up a good show for it, but I felt that, I was very influential in that game. And so that was one that always, I think, someone actually sent me a message the other day that spoke about these days, and then be like, hey, that was actually one for the books and one to remember. So if I can find that game, it will bring back great memories. But that was mine. Joe, to ask you another question from me, from being young to where you're now, what would you say is the most important thing in terms of growth as a person?
I think for me, I think the most important, and when I was younger, one of the things I thought that I would never really do it, is just staying on my own. Staying on my own, getting to be away from home and being okay. And I mean, now I think the case is where because of us or myself, and obviously you did it, going away from home, far away from home, in the same country, but still it's far away from home.
To our flight.
And to come to France at the moment, and I feel like that for me, I think the best is just getting to say, okay, I think I can stay on my own. I can be independent.
That's the biggest.
I think that's my biggest accomplishment so far. And yours?
Mine Well, for me, obviously the support of mom and dad, love and support was just the most biggest thing. I never felt that I was alone. Like, and obviously our faith. Grandma kind of pushed the boost that, you always felt lost and you pray about it and you just believe that things will fall into place and obviously it takes time. But for me, the growth, just in terms of never giving up and always going,
Yeah.
no matter what happened or what might throw me off or what the environment might be, my current situation might be, I always like find a way to push through it. And so I'd say for me that's the biggest thing, just is to keep moving forward. With it's difficult, you can't be stagnant, you just have to keep moving. And so yeah,
Yeah.
but that should be it for me. So,
Yeah. There we go. And we just finished our first episode of the journey. I hope you guys enjoyed it. If you guys want to stay updated, go follow us on Explore the Journey _ on Instagram. And even for more information and to stay updated even more, you can go follow us on my personal account on Instagram, joejonas _15, and my brother's account, curtisjonas4. But thank you very much for listening, and I hope to see you guys soon.